Investment Ministry pursues more investment in upstream oil and gas. The 2022 state budget focuses on 6 policies. Good evening viewers, Market Headlines is ready to provide you information from business, economic and capital market sector. And as the pandemic is still ongoing, we will provide you the latest COVID-19 information. Please stay safe by taking some simple precautions such as physical distancing, wearing a mask, avoiding crowds, cleaning your hands and having less mobility. And with me, Fajar Wayong, this is Market Headlines. Let's open up market headlines. Indonesia has extended its COVID-19 quarantine period for international and Indonesian travelers arriving in the country from 3 days to 1 week to anticipate the importation of Omicron variant.
Indonesia has extended its COVID-19 quarantine period for international and Indonesian travelers arriving in the country from 3 days to 1 week to anticipate the importation of Omicron variant. The Indonesian government's decisions to change its COVID-19 quarantine period for international travelers was disclosed by Coordinating Minister for Maritime Affairs and Investment Luhut Binsar Panjaitan.
Sampai dengan hari ini, ada 13 negara sudah mengumumkan bahwa mereka sudah mendeteksi confirmed dan probable cases. Untuk WNI yang pulang ke Indonesia dan memiliki riwayat perjalanan dari negara-negara pada poin A, di atas akan dikarantina selama 14 hari. Pemerintah juga akan meningkatkan waktu karantina bagi WNA dan WNI yang luar negeri di luar negara-negara yang masuk daftar pada poin A menjadi 7 hari dari sebelumnya 3 hari.
He added that the foreign nationals who had ever traveled to South Africa, Botswana, Namibia, Zimbabwe, Lesotho, Mozambique, Eswatini, Malawi, Angola, Zambia, and Hong Kong, China within the past 14 days will be denied entry. The new COVID-19 quarantine period for foreign nationals and Indonesian citizens arriving in Indonesia from abroad would have been made effective at 1 minute after midnight on November 29, 2021. IDX Channel report.
Finance Minister stated that Indonesia's economic recovery in 2022 will be accompanied by the emergence of new risks such as commodity price volatility, rising interest rates, and geopolitical dynamics.
Indonesia's economic recovery in 2022 will be accompanied by the emergence of new risks such as commodity price volatility in global markets, inflationary pressures that could have an impact on rising interest rates, and geopolitical dynamics. Minister of Finance Sri Mulyani said that the new risk must be managed so as not to disrupt the pace of economic recovery and structural reforms.
Pemulihan ekonomi tahun 2022 dibarengi munculnya resiko baru yang harus dikelola seperti volatilitas harga komoditas, tekanan inflasi dan implikasi kenaikan suku bunga di negara maju terutama Amerika Serikat, rebalancing ekonomi Tiongkok, serta disrupsi rantai pasok dan dinamika geopolitik. Perekonomian Indonesia pada tahun 2022 diproyeksikan akan melanjutkan pemulihan yang makin kuat.
According to the Finance Minister, global and domestic economic recovery in 2022 will still remain uneven and uncertain. This is mainly due to the dynamics of the COVID-19 pandemic, which continues to be overshadowed by the emergence of new variants of the coronavirus such as the Omicron variant. Regarding the 2022 state budget, she emphasized that the government fiscal instruments are still expansive and accommodate counter-cyclical policies, but still pay attention to risk and prioritize fiscal sustainability in the medium and long term. IDX Channel reports.
Investment Minister Bahlil Lahadalia said the Ministry of Investment will serve licensing for the upstream oil and gas industry starting in 2022. Currently, licensing for the oil and gas sector is still served by the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources. Regarding the licensing service, Bahlil claimed to have coordinated with the Minister of Energy and Mineral Resources, Arifin Tasrif, the Minister of Finance and the Oil and Gas Special Task Force. This is in line with the mandate of the Job Creation Act, which encourages one-stop licensing. Bahlil feels that the upstream oil and gas industry will face challenges in the future. One of them is the decrease in consumption along with the increasing use of new and renewable energy. However, the government still wants to increase investment in the upstream oil and gas sector. This year, Indonesia targets upstream oil and gas investment to reach $12 billion. Currently, the realization is only $9 billion with a year-end projection in the range of $11 billion.
Realisasi investasi untuk hulu migas di tahun ini itu kurang lebih sekitar 12 billion US dollar, kurang lebih. Realisasinya sekarang sudah hampir 9 billion dan target di akhir tahun itu kurang lebih sekitar 11 billion. Di tahun 2020 dan 2021, hulu migas belum masuk bagian daripada investasi yang kita perhitungkan. Nah, insya Allah di tahun 2020 itu tahun 2022 hulu migas akan masuk di dalam bagian dari investasi yang akan dilayani di Kementerian Investasi. Formulasi ini yang sekarang kita lagi bangun, termasuk dalamnya adalah insentif. Kemarin saya bicara sama Ibu Menkyu, kemudian Pak Arifin, kita targetkan ke depan investasi dari hulu migas itu kurang lebih sekitar 15 sampai 16 billion US dollar. Ini yang kita lagi dorong.
And we're moving on to global update. The World Health Organization has warned that the Omicron variant poses a high risk of infection surge around the globe. Meanwhile, Barbados has officially removed Queen Elizabeth II as its head of state and become the world's newest republic. More stories on today's International Minute. The World Health Organization has warned that the Omicron coronavirus variant poses a high risk of infection surge around the globe. The variant could lead to severe consequences in some regions, the WHO said on Monday. The head of the organization, Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, renewed a call for a global push to get vaccines to poorer nations. COVID-19 is not done with us yet, he warned. Barbados has officially removed Queen Elizabeth II as its head of state and become the world's newest republic. In an overnight ceremony in the capital, Bridgetown, Dame Sandra Mason was sworn in as president. The Prince of Wales and Barbadian singer Rihanna attended the event, which coincided with the country's 55th anniversary of independence. In a speech, Prince Charles acknowledged the appalling atrocity of slavery the Caribbean islands suffered. EasyJet has seen some weakening in bookings amid concern about the new COVID variant, the airline's boss says. But Johan Lundgren told it was too early to assess what the full impact might be. He also said bookings for next summer were largely unaffected, with strong pent-up demand likely to see a return close to pre-pandemic 2019 levels. The Omicron variant has led to the imposition of the new travel rules. The Omicron variant could add pressure to a chronic shortage of microchips used in car manufacturing. The boss of car giant Nissan has warned. Makoto Uchida said it was too early to say when normal deliveries and therefore finished cars would resume. Products from cars, washing machines and smartphones rely on computer chips. Some factories had to close when the pandemic first struck in 2020, leading to a backlog in production in microchips, also known as semiconductors. IDX Channel reports. Market headlines will be right back. Stay tuned with us.
Kini, aplikasi mClears hadir di handphone Anda untuk memudahkan transaksi Anda. Informasi aktivitas clearing dan penjaminan tidak lagi hanya dapat diakses melalui komputer di kantor Anda, melainkan dapat diakses di mana saja dan kapan saja dalam genggaman Anda. Fitur-fitur mClears. Equity clearing dan settlement adalah fitur di mana Anda dapat melihat posisi kewajiban settlement anggota clearing hingga nilai alternate case settlement serta informasi gagal bayar. Risk management adalah fitur di mana Anda dapat melihat posisi trading limit, kolateral, MKBD, portofolio harian, risk charge anggota clearing dan kombinasi, serta nilai minimum cash collateral. Derivatif adalah fitur di mana Anda dapat melihat posisi trading limit, margin call, dan informasi clearing derivatif. Terkait pinjam-meminjam efek, terdapat fitur mengenai borrowing information dan lendable pool information, serta lending revenue dan borrowing fee. Serta menu lain yang menampilkan informasi mengenai haircut, risk charge saham, dan nilai harga penyelesaian harian dan harga penyelesaian final. Selain itu, Anda juga dapat mengakses fitur pengumuman, peraturan, dan informasi layanan KPEI pada aplikasi mClears. Download aplikasi mClears di App Store atau Google Play Store. Lakukan registrasi user Anda dengan menggunakan alamat email berdomain resmi yang sesuai dengan anggota clearing Anda. Setelah registrasi, Anda akan diberikan kode OTP di email Anda untuk verifikasi, dan aplikasi mClears Anda siap untuk digunakan. Anda dapat mengakses seluruh menu pada aplikasi mClears dengan melakukan aktivasi berlangganan premium yang dapat dilakukan dengan memilih menu Get Premium. Download aplikasinya sekarang, lakukan registrasi, dan dapatkan kemudahan dalam genggaman tangan Anda. Kemudahan informasi KPEI dalam genggaman Anda.
Welcome back on Market Headlines. The Central Statistics Agency, or BPS, reported that in November, inflation was 0.37%, or the highest throughout 2021. Of the 90 cities monitored by the Consumer Price Index, 84 cities experienced inflation. The Central Statistics Agency, or BPS, reported that in November, inflation was 0.37%, or the highest throughout 2021. Of the 90 cities monitored by the Consumer Price Index, 84 cities experienced inflation and 6 cities experienced deflation. Head of BPS, Margo Yuwono, explained that the highest inflation occurred in Sintang at 2.01%, while the lowest was in Bima and Pontianak at 0.02%. Meantime, for deflation, the highest was in Kota Mobagu at -0.53%, while the lowest was in Tual at -0.16%.
Pada November 2021 ini terjadi inflasi sebesar 0,37%. Sehingga dengan demikian, inflasi tahun kalender tahun 2021 sebesar 1,30% dan inflasi tahun ke tahun menjadi sebesar 1,75%.
With inflation of 0.37% in November 2021, the inflation rate for calendar year 2021 is 1.3%, while year-on-year inflation is 1.75%. IDX Channel reports. Minister of Energy and Mineral Resources Arifin Tasrif say the government is targeting no longer importing fuel by 2027. There are several strategies prepared by the government to achieve the goal of being free of fuel imports, including through the use of electric vehicles and increasing the use of biodiesel by optimizing vegetable fuel-based production. In detail, in the strategy to reduce fuel imports, the use of electric cars is targeted to reach 2 million units and electric motorcycle to reach 13 million units by 2030. The plan is to achieve this target accompanied by incentives for tax exemptions for electric vehicles for 10 years. In line with that, the 30% biodiesel program will be maintained and optimized biofuel production. According to the minister, the implementation of biodiesel has been running successfully for 15 years, making Indonesia a pioneer in the use of energy from mixing biofuels with diesel. Arifin said the success continues to encourage the government to increase the blending rate to B40 or 40% of biofuel with diesel. He explained that currently with the implementation of B30 throughout 2021, it is estimated that it can save the country's foreign exchange of 44.5 trillion rupiah. This is due to reduced imports of diesel fuel. Minister of Industry said that the manufacturing sector has been increasingly motivated in pursuing green industrial development. It can be seen from the success of energy saving, which reached a value of 3.2 trillion rupiah. Minister of Industry Agus Gumiwang Kartasasmita said the manufacturing sector has been increasingly motivated in pursuing green industrial development. This can be seen from the success of efficiency or energy saving, which reached a value of 3.2 trillion rupiah and were savings of 169 billion rupiah.
Faktor sudah semakin terpacu dalam mengejar pembangunan industri hijau yang tadi disampaikan oleh Pak Sekjen, ada efisiensi sebesar 3,2 triliun untuk energinya dan juga penghematan air senilai 169 miliar rupiah.
The Ministry of Industry say that every year it organizes the Green Industry Award program to encourage industry players to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Meanwhile, Secretary General of the Ministry of Industry, Dodi Widodo, say that from 2017 to 2021, 74 companies had applied for green industry certification. A total of 71 of them were facilitated by the Ministry of Industry. IDX Channel reports. As stated by President Joko Widodo, the 2022 State Revenue and Expenditure Budgets prioritizes 6 policies, with the main focus remaining COVID-19 control. The President said that in 2022, ministers and regional heads must continue to prepare themselves to face the risk of the COVID-19 pandemic, which is still posing a threat to the global community, including Indonesia. The 2022 state budget was designed and will be implemented in a responsive, anticipatory and flexible manner. In response to the uncertainty of 2022, the 2022 state budget includes a planned state revenue of 1,846.1 trillion rupiah and state expenditure of 2,714.2 trillion rupiah.
Kita akan fokus pada 6 kebijakan utama. Yang pertama, melanjutkan pengendalian COVID-19 dengan tetap memprioritaskan sektor kesehatan. Yang kedua, menjaga keberlanjutan program perlindungan sosial bagi masyarakat kurang mampu dan rentan. Ketiga, peningkatan SDM yang unggul. Keempat, melanjutkan pembangunan infrastruktur dan meningkatkan kemampuan adaptasi teknologi. Yang kelima, penguatan desentralisasi fiskal untuk peningkatan dan pemerataan kesejahteraan antar daerah. Keenam, melanjutkan reformasi penganggaran dengan menerapkan zero-based budgeting agar belanja lebih efisien.
We'll be back with information from the Indonesian capital market. Stay with us on Market Headlines.
Investor, kalian udah punya rumah belum? Berikut ini adalah tips bagi kalian yang ingin memiliki rumah impian. Tips yang pertama adalah menabung auto debit untuk membayar DP rumah. Kesulitan utama dalam membeli rumah adalah membayar uang muka sebagai syarat KPR. Jadi saat pertama kali kalian menerima gaji, langsung disisihkan secara otomatis ya untuk ditabung. Tips yang kedua adalah menabung dalam bentuk tabungan deposito ataupun emas. Menabung dalam bentuk tabungan deposito dan juga emas membuat tabungan kalian menjadi lebih aman dan tentunya melatih kalian agar semakin disiplin dalam menabung. Tips yang ketiga adalah cari DP rumah yang bisa dicicil. Program cicilan DP rumah membantu kalian yang memiliki dana terbatas. Tips berikutnya adalah pilihlah rumah yang sesuai dengan kebutuhan kalian. Pilihlah rumah yang memang kalian butuhkan ya sobat investor. Tips yang terakhir adalah pilihlah KPR dengan tenor yang cukup panjang. Karena KPR dengan tenor yang panjang membuat cicilan bulanan kalian menjadi lebih rendah. Nah, kini memiliki properti impian tentunya bukan angan-angan lagi ya sobat investor. Wakil Presiden Maruf Amin menegaskan pengembangan industri halal menjadi salah satu fokus pemerintah dalam memajukan sektor industri di Indonesia.
Kita mampu untuk menjadi produsen halal terbesar.
Welcome back on Market Headlines. At the Jakarta Composite Index Intraday Movement, earlier today, JCI was open at the level of 6,544.55. And then approaching the closing time on the first session, the index was on the level of 6,512.83. And then the index was showing weakening trend by the second session closing time. Index was closed at the level of 6,507.68. And in short, JCI went down 0.4%. And next, we're going to see the sectoral movement. We got industry as the leader of strengthening trend that went up 0.57%. Energy sector went up 0.13%. Property as the leader of weakening trend went down 1.57%, and technology went down 1.8%. And we're moving on to top gainers and top losers. Telkom went up 2.26% to the level of 4,080 rupiah per share. Bank Sentral Asia went up 0.34% to the level of 7,300 rupiah per share. Multipolar or MLPL went up 11.67% to the level of 402 rupiah per share. And MPPA went up 15.78% to the level of 565 rupiah per share. And meantime, the top loser for today's trading, we got Bank Rakyat Indonesia went down 0.24% to the level of 4,080 rupiah per share. Astra International went down 2.16%. Pigas went down 3.33%. And Bank Negara Indonesia went down 2.21% to the level of 6,650 rupiah per share. And let's see the intraday movement of rupiah towards US dollar. Open at the level of 14,320. Rupiah showing strengthening trend towards US dollar, and it was closed at the level of 14,263. And in summary, rupiah went up 0.34%. Although total revenue increased, LinkNet's net profit in the third quarter of 2021 was recorded to have shrunk by 1.7% to 686.95 billion rupiah. Although during the first 9 months of this year, LinkNet's total revenue increased, net profit was recorded to have shrunk by 1.7% to 686.95 billion rupiah, compared to the same period in 2020 of 698.91 billion rupiah. Based on the financial report, the company's total revenue reached 3.24 trillion rupiah, an increase of 9.8% compared to the third quarter of 2020, which was 2.95 trillion rupiah. Along with the growth in the value of revenue, the cost of revenue recorded for the first 9 months of 2021 increased 7.3% to 661.39 billion rupiah. Thus, the company's gross profit for the first 9 months of this year was 2.58 trillion rupiah. Thus, the profit before tax for the period became 809.31 billion rupiah, or decreased by 9.14% compared to the same period in 2020, with total income tax expense by the third quarter of 2021 amounting to 203.37 billion rupiah. The profit for the period recorded by Link during the first 9 months of this year was 686.95 billion rupiah. IDX Channel reports. Until the third quarter of 2021, Indomobil Multijasa managed to turn the loss into a net profit, although it was marked by declining revenue. The financial report as of September shows that the company has recorded a 6.35% decrease in revenue to 2.94 trillion rupiah from 3.14 trillion in the same period last year. The company's cost of revenue also increased by 1.95 trillion by third quarter of 2021. However, the company recorded an increase from operating income items to 299.06 billion for 9 months this year. Thus, the company's operating profit increased to 379.5 billion rupiah, or up 6.6% year-on-year. The company managed to turn a profit of 18.79 billion by third quarter, compared to a net loss in the same quarter last year. Meantime, Trisula Textile Industries managed to reverse a loss of 1.6 billion rupiah to a profit of 2.8 billion rupiah at the end of the third quarter of 2021. Trisula Textile Industries managed to reverse a loss of 1.6 billion rupiah to a profit of 2.8 billion rupiah at the end of the third quarter of 2021. The increase was driven by the company's sales performance, which began to recover, both in the online and offline segments. Corporate Secretary of Trisula Textile Industries Nurwulan Kusumawati said the recovery in revenue in the third quarter of 2021 was also supported by a decrease in finance costs for managing debt and accounts receivable, inventory and other costs that were quite effective, so that the company's cash flow operations improved quite a bit. Meanwhile, the company's total sales were recorded at 293.65 billion rupiah. The sales are still dominated by the domestic market at around 95%, but the company's export performance in this year's period rose 47% compared to last year's. In the future, to maintain good performance, Trisula will continue to strive to maintain good relations with its customers and continue to pay attention to sustainable production processes. IDX Channel reports. Step aside from market condition as the efforts in achieving herd immunity is still going on. Here is an update data about COVID-19 vaccinations in Indonesia. And the news close our market headlines today. Please enjoy our next program on IDX Channel, Your Trustworthy Economic, Business and Capital Market Channel. And to prevent the spread of COVID-19, always wear a mask and get vaccinated immediately. Masks have been shown to reduce the risk of transmission by 80%, while vaccines minimize the risk of death by 73%. So let's wear a mask and get vaccinated, because masks and vaccines keep us healthy and happy. And I'm Fajar Wayong. Have a nice evening and stay safe.
berikut ini adalah beberapa tips yang bisa kalian coba untuk mencapai financial freedom. Yang pertama, pahami kondisi finansial. Kalian harus paham berapa jumlah pendapatan dan berapa jumlah pengeluaran. Yang kedua adalah tentukan tujuan keuangan agar kedepannya kalian lebih mudah untuk menyusun strategi untuk mencapai tujuan keuangan tersebut. Ketiga, carilah sumber pendapatan yang lain. Biarlah pendapatan dari aset itu bisa menutupi pengeluaran utama atau pengeluaran pokok kalian. Yang keempat adalah investasi. Kalau Anda menyimpan uang di bank, nilainya akan terus tergerus. Tetapi kalau berinvestasi, nilainya akan terus bertambah. Yang kelima dan yang terakhir adalah lunasi segala hutang. Bila Anda memiliki tagihan ataupun hutang, segeralah melakukan pelunasan kapanpun Anda memiliki uang yang cukup. Itulah beberapa tips untuk mencapai financial freedom. Bagaimana dengan Anda, Sobat Investor?
Halo pemirsa, selamat pagi. Langsung dari area studio IDX Channel Jakarta, saya Mangivera Tjong hadir dalam Power Breakfast. Ya, kami hadir setiap pagi menemani Anda dengan menyajikan informasi ekonomi, bisnis, dan pasar modal khas Power Breakfast. Dan live streaming kami bisa Anda saksikan di idxchannel.com. Tak lupa kami terus mengingatkan untuk tetap menerapkan protokol kesehatan selama masa pandemi ini. Tentunya agar kita terbebas dari COVID-19. Dan pemirsa, mari kita ikuti Power Breakfast selengkapnya. Pak pemirsa, kayaknya pagi hari ini saya kualat nih sama Wicky. Karena semalam saya ledekin Wicky ya, membacakan anugerahnya sendirian. Semalam dia jomblo, tapi ternyata pagi hari ini saya yang jomblo karena siarannya tanpa Wicky gitu ya. Tapi nggak apa-apa pemirsa, saya tetap semangat untuk menyampaikan informasi menarik untuk Anda semua. Dan langsung saja kita masuk ke informasi yang pertama nih. Di mana disiplin penerapan protokol kesehatan di pusat perbelanjaan mulai menurun. Kelalaian di lapangan mencakup pemeriksaan atas notifikasi hasil pemindaian QR Code peduli lindungi pengunjung yang tidak dilakukan oleh petugas.
Kementerian Perdagangan mencatat disiplin penerapan protokol kesehatan di pusat perbelanjaan turun. Penguatan diperlukan demi memastikan penyebaran COVID-19 tetap terkendali dan aktivitas perdagangan tetap berjalan. Direktur Jenderal Perdagangan Dalam Negeri Kementerian Dalam Negeri Oken Nurwan mengatakan, kelalaian di lapangan mencakup pemeriksaan atas notifikasi hasil pemindaian QR Code peduli lindungi pengunjung yang tidak dilakukan petugas, pemeriksaan peduli lindungi secara manual tanpa aplikasi peduli lindungi, dan pemindaian QR Code yang tidak menyasar seluruh pengunjung dewasa dalam satu kelompok atau keluarga. Tingkat kepatuhan protokol kesehatan di pusat perbelanjaan juga memperlihatkan tren penurunan. Oke mengatakan masih banyak pusat perbelanjaan di luar Jawa dan Bali yang belum menerapkan pemeriksaan status vaksin pengunjung dan check-in melalui aplikasi peduli lindungi dengan alasan tingkat vaksinasi yang masih rendah di wilayah tersebut. Rekapitulasi pemindaian QR Code peduli lindungi di pusat perdagangan modern sampai 23 November memperlihatkan adanya 23.640 pemindaian berstatus hitam atau yang positif dan 634.995 pemindaian berstatus merah atau belum vaksin. Terdapat pula 14,47 juta pemindaian pengunjung yang telah menerima satu dosis vaksin, serta 74,94 juta pemindaian pengunjung yang telah menerima 2 dosis vaksin. Berbagai sumber untuk IDX Channel.
Ya pemirsa, soal isu tadi gitu ya, tingkat kepatuhan masyarakat akan protokol kesehatan di mal itu juga sudah mulai menurun. Salah satunya banyak juga petugas yang tidak mengecek kembali ketika ada pengunjung yang ingin masuk ke mal tanpa scan QR Code peduli lindungi. Nah, kalau saya sendiri melihat ini memang masih ada beberapa masalah ketika para pengunjung ingin masuk ke pusat perbelanjaan nih pemirsa. Salah satunya karena memang kadang aplikasi peduli lindunginya sih yang masih suka error gitu. Jadi ketika masyarakat mau scan jadinya susah, terjadi penumpukan, pada akhirnya sama petugas disuruh masuk aja. Nah, mungkin ke depannya hal-hal seperti ini bisa segera ditangani. Jadi ketahuan nih siapa aja yang masuk ke mall, tapi memang kalau keadaannya tidak diperbolehkan gitu ya, itu sebaiknya jangan diperbolehkan untuk masuk ke mal karena memang dikhawatirkan bisa menularkan virus kepada masyarakat yang lainnya. Oke, semoga kedepannya ada perubahan soal hal ini tadi ya. Dan kita masuk ke informasi viral yang pertama pemirsa, di mana saat ini kembali ramai diperbincangkan soal PNS yang digantikan oleh teknologi atau bahkan robot. Hal ini pada awalnya diungkapkan oleh Presiden Joko Widodo di tahun 2019 lalu yang ingin mengganti beberapa jabatan birokrasi dengan artificial intelligence. Terkait hal tersebut, Menteri Pendayagunaan Aparatur Negara dan Reformasi Birokrasi Cahyo Kumolo mengatakan bahwa penerapan teknologi ini dilakukan untuk efektif